Skilling and I were thinking, everybody always brings this up in conversation. Why do the Congress and the Senate elected officials get rich? Make so much money. They can make laws that are passed in the stocks that favor the stocks they own. We all know it, right? It's been going on for 20 some years now. And we always hear politicians say they're going to term limits and all this other baloney. But I like to see if there's anything new someone's saying. And I watched Vivek. He brought it up on his campaign trail in front of the national audience, which was awesome. That dude is the man. I really hope he's the vice president. I'll do something on that later. And then there's Matt Gaetz. And he's been bringing it up. I saw it at CPAC. He brought it up. I usually don't watch stuff like this, but all this craziness going on. And then on YouTube, I found something. And what he did on YouTube, I never seen anybody do this. I've heard people, you can go into a gas station, and if there's like people talking, like getting coffee, whatever, they might bring up, it's like the one common thing everybody has that they can talk about. Because it's just like, we've become, like it's okay. Congress, Senate, they get rich. We know how, but we accept it. And I get it. It just keeps going on, and then you get like these little weird things Obama did back in 2012 or sometime around there, which is baloney. But Gaetz, this helmet is wild. He is the man. We're gonna see right here. Yes, we are. Big building. Important building.
Right, so you can read it yourself. Welcome, please come in. Let's do this. This looks a lot like a podcast studio. It is a podcast studio. Yeah. That's where the magic happens. Incredible.
I've never seen the inside of a smart elected person's office. Is that a Trump?
So we're waiting for him to wrap up and we're here to talk to us. He was in the meantime in this podcast studio here, which
It's so silly. Come on. We gotta turn the volume up. I forgot about that.
Hey!
Hey there, James Paulus.
Yeah, nice to see you, James. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think that we're actually putting the needs of the people first around here? We're not. And if they want to know why, it's because of money.
You've got a few allies. Who do you think is doing this right in terms of their approach, and who do you like working with on this issue?
Raja Krishnamurthy, a Democrat from Illinois who doesn't see eye to eye with me on a lot of things, but we're working on legislation together to ban this. Even centrist Republicans like Brian...
Pause. We gotta go back a little bit. Did he just say he's working with a Democrat? And I forgot to mention, something that he does, he goes in on Republicans. He's a Republican. I like that. These Democrats never go in on each other. Nothing is ever perfect. That makes me wonder. I like it when they're debate, when you don't agree. That's normal. Let's watch.
Approach, and who do you like working with on this issue?
Raja Krishnamurthy, a Democrat from Illinois who doesn't see eye to eye with me on a lot of things, but we're working on legislation together to ban this. Even centrist Republicans like Brian Fitzpatrick, someone who voted to impeach President Trump, right?
Even someone like AOC, more of a household
Yes,
name.
yes.
Has she pulled you aside and sort of given you an earful about this stuff?
Look, AOC is flawed in a lot of ways, right? She's not a particular fan of mine, and I don't celebrate much of her work. But one thing I can tell you about her, she's not corrupt. And that is meaningful to me because...
Hold on. I don't want to get into AOC. What I want to point out here, he just gave her a compliment. He said she's not corrupt. I wonder how long she's been in office for. But either way, she hasn't been corrupted by the money yet, right? Is that what he just said? I like that. That's different. Hold on, we gotta go back. Just make sure he did say what he just said.
Fine, and I don't celebrate much of her work, but one thing I can tell you about her, she's not corrupt. And that is meaningful to me, because even if someone is wrong, but they hold those views sincerely, there's at least an opportunity for persuasion. With the people who are bought and paid for by lobbyist donations, by personal emoluments and enrichments, and by the utilization of inside information to make money in the stock market, those people are not persuadable.
In 2012, after a glut of negative press, Congress passed a law called the Stock Act, which required them to disclose their trades.
We should limit any elected official from owning stocks in industries that they have the power to impact.
There was this belief that you didn't have to ban congressional stock trading, you could just require disclosures, and that those disclosures would shame people into conduct that was better and more virtuous, and that created more public trust around lawmaking. But the reality is folks have become so brazen, like they're willing to tell you that they're on the Armed Services Committee and trading Raytheon stock.
You mean to tell me that shaming does not work on Capitol Hill?
No, it turns out
We've accepted it. Shaming, we need to correlate this with the media and the vax mandates. Shaming don't work. We don't like shaming.
they're on the Armed Services Committee and trading Raytheon stock.
You mean to tell me that shaming does not work on Capitol Hill?
No, it turns out that congressional stock trading will occur in an ecosystem of shamelessness. The reason this is allowed to persist in the absence of stronger laws, because both sides are doing it, right? Bipartisanship can be one of the most insidious things in this town when it's bipartisan corruption, when it's a bipartisan consensus around self-dealing and self-enrichment. And that's what we have here.
It's clear there's plenty of self-dealing and self-enrichment, but who are the worst offenders? Congressman Gates offered to take us on a tour.
So one of the committees where people have a lot of information is the appropriations.
The guy's hair, this guy's hair, not the bald guy. I'm not good with this, but this guy's hair in the background of Gates, I gotta refocus.
Congressman Gates offered to take us on a tour.
So one of the committees where people have a lot of information is the Appropriations Committee, because they can view almost any vector of government funding. And so, this is Mr. Rutherford's office. He's on the Ethics Committee and the Appropriations Committee. 152 stock trades. Stocks go through the roof. And actually bought Raytheon stock the day that Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if every American could make money off of war.
Yeah, setting aside the whole shame and ethics questions. How many more?
This is different. This is
there are a few
different.
more. And I wish there were fewer on the hit list. I wish we could only stop at one or two offices, but as it turns out, energy is a sector that sees a lot of congressional stock trading. And we have members who are on the Energy Subcommittee of Appropriations, like Michael Guest, chairman of the Ethics Committee, and he's traded somewhere between tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars in energy stocks. He's been buying online gaming stocks and just making a killing on them. So you would think that the people that were on the Ethics Committee would be your best allies in this fight, but indeed they're some of the most prolific traders.
Gaming stock? I know a guy named Tiny. You can look, it's in a different, I'm not gonna get into that. Let's continue.
He's been buying online gaming stocks and just making a killing on them. So you would think that the people that were on the Ethics Committee would be your best allies in this fight, but indeed they're some of the most prolific traders. And not only trading, but in the case of Mr. Guest, trading in an area where he has access to energy information more so than almost any other American.
And no indication that he wants to maybe slow down, pump the brakes, recognize that there might be some appearance of impropriety here.
It seems as though the pace is only accelerating.
Right.
No more.
Huge amounts of money sloshing around. Not a lot of accountability.
Which building? We'll have to uncryogenically freeze the senators for votes.
That's a
While
joke.
walking to the Senate offices, we passed two members who deserve mention. Senator Tom Carper, who profited from multiple trades in which he shorted or literally bet against the U.S. economy. And Senator Bob Menendez, who is indicted for receiving gold bars and other gifts from foreign governments.
Why trade stocks when you can get the payment up front? If you were on your normal subway, if you were at the people mover at the airport, you wouldn't think it's this thing. People get on these trains, they start taking photos.
Oh yeah, no, the open air one is just like the only one of its kind, I think.
Feels a lot like the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport to me. And the challenge we have is a bicameral one. It's not just in the House, it's in the Senate too. Some people almost have the ability to see the future. And it's regulatory actions that sometimes people get an early look at. There was a case where Senator Mark Wayne Mullen bought a company that created a certain type of water meter, and just after that happened, Senator Mullen made a killing because the EPA required that type of monitoring that the company provided for in their technology. And it's interesting that Senator Mullen is also on the committee that oversees water policy and might know where the EPA was heading. Also on the Armed Services Committee, huge trader of defense stocks. That's always a concern for me when you have members of Congress that are betting on war. Now, I come from a district where the people have to go and fight those wars and die for them and lose their limbs and their marriages and their families. And to know that members of Congress are here trading defense stocks while they're central to the decisions about war and peace, it boils my blood as much as any of it.
In a time of extreme division, it's amazing to see how unified members of Congress are on this matter, both those who are profiting from stock trades and those who oppose it.
The big one.
This is ground zero.
Yes, we have hit the summit. So Nancy Pelosi promised she would bring legislation to the floor to ban congressional stock trading. Never did. About $120 million in volume that she's done trading stocks. About 3.5.
You know, I always wondered, why do these people, these older people, you know what I mean, they're older, they're in their 80s, some in the mid-80s, why are they always trying to stay involved in this whole thing here? It's stressful, you know what I mean? But you know, makes me think, Nancy Pelosi, her face don't move much. She don't have to wear a mask, she get her hair done whenever. She got to be rich. Skelly, if this don't change, we're going to the house. We're gonna be rich.
$500,000 a year.
There's no kind of like ribbon or prize medals hanging out here. She's gotta get something at some point, right?
Well, I tell you, trading stocks, about $3.5 million a year.
There's no kind of like ribbon or prize medals hanging out here. She's gotta get something at some point, right?
Well, I tell you, this is where we could have gotten action. You know, she made a promise that we're going to hear a bill to change it, but when you're looking at this type of volume, I mean, she bought like millions of dollars in call options on one stock that just shot through the roof. So certainly a prolific trader, not someone who kept their promises on that.
Her bill is all theater then, right?
Well, it was a bill that never even came up.
Saw the light of day.
Never saw the light of day. So it just shows you that Washington promises are less convertible than Nancy Pelosi's own call options.
Yeah.
Those are pretty convertible to cash. Washington promises a lot more like Confederate money.
Bring in Steve Moore, Committee to Unleash Prosperity Hotline.
I don't even know what the... Let's just check something out real quick. Twitter. See, I don't really know how to do one. Congress stocks. What? Oh no, I don't want it. You know what? I don't even know if you need to even like research. No, we just heard it. We just saw it. The question is, are we gonna keep accepting it? I suppose. all we gotta do is vote.